The Alexander High School Counseling Center presents Senior Parent Night, and welcome again, class of 2021. The Counseling Center website can be found by going to the Alexander High School webpage, click on Departments, and then Counseling. And this presentation and recorded presentation will be there after we do this evening. Also, while you're there, on the right-hand side, you can see the presentations, scholarships. Please click in the scholarships area, and we update that regularly. You'll find some great opportunities for our seniors. So please go to the scholarship area. Also, the senior brag sheet. Complete the senior brag sheet. This is the opportunity for you to tell us a lot about yourself. So when we get ready to do your letter of recommendation, we can really brag on you. You can also request transcripts from here and look at dual enrollment and remind and pay for your transcripts from this site. I'm going to have Mr. Plumby change to my next slide, please. Thank you. Let's meet the team. First of all, I want to say thank you to our administrative team, which is headed by Dr. Small, our principal, and his four assistant principals, Mr. John Chandler, Ms. Miranda Combs, Mr. Stephen Beatty, and Mr. Rob Alford. So let's meet the fantastic counseling team. First of all, we have Dr. Omar Ray.
I have students A through C. Remember, A, B, C.
Okay, now we have Mr. John Warrington.
Greetings. I have last names D through K. So D for dollars, K for kings. I'm not going to sing.
Okay, and we have Mr. Tim Plumley.
Hi, Tim Plumley. I have students with last names L through P.
And we also have Ms. Dowder, who's our career and college person in our department. And I'm Mrs. Wright, and I have students Q through Z. So welcome, and we will present to you some important information tonight. All of this will be in the presentation tomorrow or a few days later. You can reflect back to this, know who your counselor is by the last names. We also have Ms. Lemons, who's our social worker, and Ms. Marie Brown, our records clerk, who's a part of our team. Senior meetings. That's the most important thing that's coming up. We usually like to meet kids face to face, but as you know, we're doing it virtually, and we may do some in-house also. So you need to make an appointment to meet with your counselor. The link to request a meeting can be found in the Counseling Center website, or on this presentation later, you can just click on the link below. And we hope to finish all those by November the 20th. We always like to look at our vision statement here at the Counseling Center. And it's a very important vision statement that we operate from, in which we believe in. And I'm going to read this for you because it's important. Alexander High School students are confident, compassionate, and responsible adults whose diverse experiences and backgrounds encourage continual growth and learning in the 21st century in the global community. Students can problem solve, face adversity with resilience, respect, and compassion for others. Our students are happy, productive citizens who reach their fullest potential academically, socially, and emotionally. And our mission statement is very simple. We provide high-quality counseling services to all students, regardless of individual differences, in a safe and supportive environment. Okay, what do I do with my senior? 4 years ago, you entered our campus and you said, what do I do with my freshman? Now it's 4 years later, and we want our seniors to finish strong. We want them to start looking at what they're going to do beyond the doors of Alexander High School. Whether you're going to go to a 4-year college or university, a 2-year school, a trade school, a technical college. You might want to do an apprenticeship, go into the military or the world of work. What am I going to do with my senior? So Mr. Warrington is going to come up and tell you more detailed options of what to do with your senior.
Greetings again. And I'm going to tell you what you're going to do with those seniors. You're going to get them out your house and on with their lives. Right? Right? Okay, but seriously, what are you going to do with your seniors? First thing you want to do is talk to them and find out what is their plan for next year. You know, what is coming up soon. You know, May is going to be here before you know it, then the summertime, and then this time next year. So first question for your senior is, what is your plan? What do you want to do? If they don't have a plan, well, then you know what you need to do with them. You need to help them find out what their plan is. If they do know what their plan is, then you want to, you know, talk with them and make sure it's realistic. And we're here to help you no matter what part of the stage they're in. If they haven't figured out yet, they definitely need to come and talk to us about that, and we can help them along the way. If they do know what they want to do, great. But talk to us about it, and we can give you some advice, give you other people to talk to, give you some strategies to make that even more successful. But for you as a parent, you got to decide how much help you want to give this person who is almost an adult, and you got to think about the help you give them now. How long is that going to keep you in your house going forward? So it's a big decision, and we've been through it, most of us, and we're here to help you with it. I'm going to see which one of these works here. If not, I have to use telekinesis to change the slide. That one doesn't work. That one's not working. Okay, they don't pay me enough to use these powers, but for you tonight, I will use my telekinesis. So, all right, it's working. Important information. Attendance at Alexander still exists. It still matters. No matter what your seniors tell you, they still have to come to school. All right, even if they only need 3 or 4 classes to graduate, they need to attend those 3 or 4 classes. Okay, we'll still kick them out if they have too much attendance issues, even, you know, if they're close to graduating. So please come to school. It's not just about our attendance requirements, but it's a physical development. You get used to getting up every day and coming to school 5 days a week. It's going to make it easier for you to get up and go to a job 5 days a week. Those people who are sick once or twice a week are going to be the same kind of people typically who, you know, are not able to finish their work weeks. And, you know, those of us who have jobs know that not being reliable is not a really good thing to do and expect to get paid. All right. So the checking in and out process hasn't changed. It's been 4 years to most of you all. So, you know, keep doing that. And senior skip days. When is that? What's the date for it? Let me check the calendar. Oh, there isn't any senior skip day. Okay, it's not on the calendar at all. We're going to talk about PSAT day, and we're going to give seniors the opportunity to not come to school so they can do virtual visits and, you know, look for jobs or research the military. But it's not a skip day. Okay, there are no senior skip days, at least not official ones that we allow. Okay, so come to school, do not skip. Now, the next thing you have to know about is money. It's can be a little bit expensive this senior year. You know, there's pictures, there's graduation, there's prom, hopefully. For those in the sports, you got your banquets, all kinds of stuff. So hopefully you prepare for that. If not, you need financial assistance. Again, counseling department can help you out with that. And also, if you're not sure what the fees are, then you definitely want to make sure you're on Mrs. Haynes' remind so that you can get, make sure that you're staying up to date on all that information, especially if your senior is so preoccupied with his or her future that they're failing to give you that information. All right. And you can see we have picture day coming up. We have the deadline to be in a yearbook. And if you want to call Katie Studios to, that's for the pictures. Okay, and then senior has to do on November 20th. Okay, And here's some more information from Mrs. Haynes, senior class of 21 fall frequently asked questions. So you can, download that document. I'm sure she's sending it through you through her means. And again, when this presentation is over, we'll be posting, this PowerPoint and as well as a recorded presentation. And then here is that important information again. So you can see it. I'll just pause for a moment so that you can take a picture or a screenshot, whatever you do. All right, that's enough. All right, testing. One of the important things that we do here at school, and you see we have the end of course tests. This year there's been a big change with those. There's only 4 tests instead of 8. Actually, it used to be 10. There's only 4 now, and you can see what they are. Most of you seniors, if not all of you, should be done with those courses. You shouldn't have to worry about end of course test. You lucked out. Economics is no longer on there. Acuplacer, for those of you all who are going to 2-year or technical schools, then that's probably the entrance exam that you'll need to take in order to get placed in that school. ASVAB, or for those people who are going into the military, we are going to be offering the ASVAB here at Alexander twice this year, one in the fall, one in the spring. We don't have the dates just yet, but keep in touch with us. Stay in touch with Mrs. Haynes on the remind, and we will let you know as soon as that date is available. ACT and SAT, for those of you all who are going to 4-year colleges, those are the college entrance exams. As many of you know, a lot of them have been waived or made test optional for this coming school year, but there are some instances where you might need to take those tests. For example, the Zell Miller Scholarship, requires in addition to the GPA and the rigor courses, you have to have a certain score on the ACT, which I believe is a 26. And for the SAT, I think that score is 1200 or above, okay? And then that last thing you see on that slide here is voice your opinion about EOC scoring. If you're not familiar, the state superintendent is actually trying to do away with testing for this year during the pandemic, but the feds won't allow that. So he's got a survey on, he wants to get our opinion on what we think about that particular rule as far as end of course test and it averaging into the final grades. There is an option for it to count only 0.1%. You might want to consider that. All right, more about the ACT, SAT. Again, if you go into a 4-year college, those are the college entrance exams. If they have been waived for USG schools, those are schools within Georgia for 2021 enrollment. For your out-of-state schools, you want to check, with those schools' admissions department or their website to see if they have test waive or test optional. Okay, and if you don't know the difference between test waive and test optional, then that's a reason for you to contact your counselor and come visit us, or meet us, Google, or call us on the phone or some kind of way. And for everything that you want to do, especially the testing, you want to sign up early because your space is limited. Sites are coming up and down every day. We did do some testing here at Alexander for ACT just this past weekend, and we're scheduled to test again on December 12th. So if you want to test at your home school, you want to get on there and register early. Okay. Check for schedule conflicts before you pay for your exams. So if you have like a sporting event or some kind of banquet or some kind of awards thing or a family event, don't schedule the test for that day because it's too much trouble to try to, get it reimbursed or have it rescheduled for another time. All right. Ensure official scores as well as official transcripts are sent to universities. All right. In order to do that without having to pay, at least for the first 4, you want to have your schools chosen and put them in when you register for your ACT or SAT. So you do that ahead of time, then they will send those scores to those schools, as soon as the scores come in, you don't have to pay for them. And you can do that up until you actually take the test. So if you've registered already and you didn't put your schools in for your scores, then you can, and you haven't taken your test yet, you can still log back into College Board or ACT.org, and you can add those schools into your account. If you wait till after you test, okay, then you will have to pay per school to have your scores sent, to the colleges of your choice. All right. Also, always check with your application deadlines and also your test registration deadlines and fee waivers. Okay. If you qualify for free and reduced lunch, then you qualify for a fee waiver for testing, which means you don't have to pay. And for a lot of cases, that also includes for college application fees. All right, right now, due to the pandemic, everyone is receiving free lunch, but only those who actually apply and qualify will actually be candidates for the fee waivers. So if you're not on free lunch officially, but you think you qualify, parents, go ahead and apply. Go to our school website, go to departments, and find where it says school nutrition, and then there is a link on school nutrition page to apply for free and reduced lunch. Okay, we cannot give fee waivers unless you're on free and reduced lunch, and there's a process for us to find that out. So that's something that you think you qualify for or interested in. Again, give us a call. Getting tired with my telekinesis, that's why I'm making faces when I change these things. All right, it takes a lot of energy, and it's late in the evening. All right, free SAT practice from Khan Academy. So if you're not aware of that, your SAT is one of the tests you want to take, you can get free practice on Khan Academy. Just log on there and find it. If you have your PSAT scores, you can download that into the Khan Academy, and they will customize a test prep session just for you. So that is Khan Academy, free testing. All right, so that is the end of my portion of this presentation. Again, we have the chat box, so if you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat box, and we will try to get to as many of those as possible at the end of the presentation. It's wonderful seeing everybody. Y'all look really good to be on a Zoom. Everybody got their hair did and put on makeup and stuff like that. That's wonderful. In the words of Fernando from Saturday Night Live back in the 80s, parents, you know what I'm talking about. But you look marvelous, absolutely marvelous. All right. I'm now going to introduce Mr. Plumley, and he's going to continue with the presentation.
All right, good evening. I do not have telekinesis, so I'm just going to use this wireless keyboard. All right, so your student wants to go to college and you're curious about the process. So what we suggest is, if you're interested in college, that you first sit down and make a list of potential schools. Compare yourself to the school's freshman index or the profile for last year's freshman class. See how you compare as far as GPA, as far as test scores, as far as the number of AP or dual enrollment or advanced or accelerated courses, and then just kind of see where you measure up. Review each school's online application process. Most schools have gone to a strictly online process. Very few actually do paper applications anymore. So check with each individual school, find out how they want you to apply. Then find out what you need to do about your transcripts. How do they want those sent? How many do they want, whatnot. Then look at the application fees. How much is it going to cost for you to apply? Do you qualify for an application fee waiver? If so, as Mr. Warrington said, come see us, we can help you out with that. And then look and see if your application is going to require any recommendations from either teachers or counselors, so that you can make sure that you give those recommenders plenty of time to get those done. So when you're making this list of colleges, it's best to pick colleges in 3 categories. First, you want to have that top tier, that dream school, that reach school, those schools that might be more difficult for you to get in, but that's the one that you really want to work for. So have a category of those dream schools. Then have that mid category, which is the I think I can or the stretch colleges. Those that you feel that you could get in, but you're a little uneasy about it, that it might be a stretch for you. So have some colleges in that category. And then always have some colleges or schools in that category where you think that you can do this, that these are sure things, that you know if you send an application, you're going to get in. Because having schools in all of these categories gives your student more options when they get to that application time and start receiving those letters telling them where they've been accepted. And also, remember to watch your deadlines. So now that you're ready to apply, how do you do that? As I said earlier, most colleges, we apply online now. And there's 4 ways that most colleges can be applied to. Through the GA Futures website, gafutures.org. Any school in Georgia, you can typically apply to them through Georgia Futures. You can also go directly to the college or university on their website. Typically, they'll have a link through their admissions office so that you can apply directly to the school. And then there's the Coalition app and the Common app. Both of those are applications where you can submit to multiple colleges by putting in your basic information once and then sending that out to multiple colleges. So just look through the colleges that you're applying to, find out which one of these best suits your needs, which one of these addresses the most of the colleges that you want to apply to, and then figure out which one works best for you. Then you need to send your transcripts. For schools in Georgia, so any school in Georgia, we recommend requesting those transcripts through gafutures.org. Your student can log into their Georgia Futures account, request those transcripts to any school in Georgia. They are free when requested through gafutures.org. If it's an out-of-state school or your student just insists on filling out the online transcript request form, which is found on our website, all of those requests are $3 each. Now, all out-of-state schools have to use the online request form, but for any school in Georgia, GA Futures is going to be your quickest and your cheapest option. And then remember to request your letters of recommendation. So a lot of students ask us, what makes a great letter of recommendation? How do I get an impressive letter of recommendation? Well, the first way to do that is by completing the senior brag sheet, which can be found on our school counseling website, in each of our Google Classrooms for the class of 2021, and in our virtual counseling office. So all of those places you can find the senior brag sheet. Be as detailed as possible when completing that form, because the more you tell us about yourself, the more we can tell the college about you. When you're giving those letters of recommendation, those requests to your teachers, your counselors, your coaches, give them plenty of time to fill them out. Don't give it to them on a Thursday night and expect by Friday by noon that they're going to have a stellar letter of recommendation written for you. Most of them probably will have a letter. It may not be the best one they could have written if they only had a few hours to get it done. So make sure you give them plenty of time. And finally, ask people who know you well. Go to your teachers, your coaches, your club sponsors, your counselors, those people that know you best and can write those personal stories that the admissions office really, really wants to hear. And again, know your deadlines. Deadlines are very important when applying to college because for the most part, they're pretty rigid. Okay, I've mentioned the GA Futures website a couple of times. So it's www.gafutures.org. This is the website where you can check your HOPE GPA. So if your student thinks they may be eligible for the HOPE or Zell Miller scholarships, this is the only place where they can find out what their current HOPE GPA is, because the Georgia Futures website are the people who determine that. You can apply to colleges within Georgia. You can search for scholarships. You can look for FAFSA and financial aid help. You can look at sections on financial literacy. And this is also where you do all your paperwork for dual enrollment, the funding apps, and searching your course directories. All of that is found here at gafutures.org. If your student does not have a gafutures.org account, they need to create one. And when they create it, they need to make sure they use the correct and legal information. So they need to make sure they use their legal name. They put in their correct date of birth. They put in their true social security number. Because if there's a mismatch between Georgia Futures and our database, it can cause problems on the financial aid side, and we really don't want that to happen. So if your child goes by a nickname especially, important that they don't apply to college under their nickname and they don't apply for financial aid or scholarships under their nickname. They need to make sure that they are using their legal name on all documents at this point. Transcript requests for admission and scholarship applications. We talked about this a little earlier. So again, GA Futures for all those in-state colleges, the online request form, which is found on our school counseling website for any out-of-state. All the out-of-state and submissions put in through the online request form have to be paid online through RevTrack, which is our online payment system. Again, there's a link on our school counseling website that takes you straight to that. And make sure you allow plenty of time for your transcripts to accompany those college applications and scholarship applications. All right, so the question that's for all the adults in the room, how much is this going to cost? So what we have here on the screen is we have a typical student who is an in-state student at the University of Georgia. So you can see we have tuition, fees, dorm room, typical meal plan, books, and that averages out to $22,668 for a single year. Please note that tuition is the top line at about $9,364, which makes up about half of the total expense. Now, when we look at other colleges like Georgia State University, total cost there about $14,573. And when we look at University of West Georgia, about $14,285. So this just gives you kind of an overview of what to expect when you start getting those college price tags. All right, how can you pay for college? Grants and scholarships, loans, work-study programs. Those are the three most common ways that students will pay for college. And here's a little cheat sheet that tells you whether or not you have to pay these back and how you qualify for them, whether they're need-based or merit-based. So with scholarships, do they have to be paid back? No, they do not. And they are given out based on need and based on merit. So both of those are ways to qualify. Grants, again, qualify for need-based and merit-based grants, and they do not have to be paid back. Work-study programs, they are based on need, and they do not have to be paid back. Your federal Pell Grant, also based on need, and it does not have to be paid back. Loans, no matter what type of loan, are based on need and merit, and yes, they have to be paid back. Any money you take out for college that in the form of a loan has to be paid back. So let's talk about FAFSA and financial aid. So FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid, and it must be completed for all college-bound students. That application is now open. It opened the 1st of October, and it can be found at fafsa.ed.gov. Make sure that you enter that address very, very carefully because there are imitation websites out there. So you want to make sure that you are at the correct website. One dead giveaway is that FAFSA actually stands for free application. So if a website asks you to pay money to submit your FAFSA, it is not the right website. When you're filling this out, you need your 2019 income tax information. FAFSA is used to apply for HOPE, as well as any other state or federal aid. And there's a link that we have here when we post this that you can actually click on that goes to Georgia Futures for information on getting started with that FAFSA application. So information that you will need to complete your FAFSA. You're going to need social security numbers for parents and student. You're going to need ID numbers, driver's license numbers for parent and student. If the student has an alien registration number, you're going to need that. You're going to need federal tax forms for parent and student. Parents are going to need records of untaxed income child support and information on cash, including your account balances. All that will be required when you're filling out your FAFSA. Now, once you fill that out and your student fills out their portion, your student will get what we call a student aid report or an SAR. This will tell you two things. It will tell you what your expected family contribution or EFC is. That's the amount that they suspect or expect that you will be able to pay as a family. And it will tell you how much federal money that you can be eligible for. We will have a financial aid workshop on Monday, November 2nd at 7 p.m. Again, we'll be doing this live on a Google Meet. We will have Ben Meadows from the Georgia Student Finance Commission with us, and he's going to talk about all kinds of things. He's going to talk about basic financial aid, FAFSA, Hope and Zell Miller, scholarships. So he's going to have lots of good information. So as we get closer, we will advertise that on all our social media outlets on how you can get into that link, and we will share it through Ms. Haynes as well. So there'll be lots of good information that night, so we invite you to attend. All right, scholarship information. This is the question that we get asked over and over again by students. Unless your parents have stuffed the mattresses with money, most students are looking for ways to pay for college, and scholarships are the optimum way to do that because you don't have to pay them back. Now, I will say this, scholarships require a lot of time and effort on the part of the student, and that's just the nature of the beast. That's just the way it is. But there are some places you can go to look for scholarships, and each of these websites here has lots of good information on available scholarships. We update our school counseling website with our scholarship link. Every time we find out new information about scholarships, we're constantly updating and adding those. GA Futures, as we've talked about before, has an entire section on federal aid and scholarships. So there's an entire section there. FastWeb is another website. It has vast resources for looking for scholarships. Niche.com has tons of information for searching for colleges, for choosing colleges, and for how to pay for colleges. And scholarships.com has an enormous database where you can search all kinds of scholarships. Basically, anything that makes your student unique, you can search to see if there's a scholarship available for that. And now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Ray, and she's going to come and talk to us about some of those Georgia merit-based scholarships.
Thank you, Mr. Plumley. So Mr. Plumley told you about how much it would cost to go to college. So I have to show you the money, how you can actually activate the Hope Scholarship. Now, Hope Scholarship, there is no application for it. When you fill out the FAFSA form, that is the application. So that's great. Now let's talk about the Hope Scholarship. The Hope Scholarship requirement is a 3.0 GPA core. The only person that can give you the Hope Scholarship GPA is georgiafutures.org. Don't go to anyone else. Go to georgiafutures.org, click on what is my Hope Scholarship GPA, and it will tell you. Not only will it tell you that, it would also give you information on how many rigor courses you've completed, and we'll go over that in a minute. You have to have 4 rigor courses. So it will tell you exactly how many courses you have and how many you need. Now, the Hope Scholarship is a 3.0 GPA. There is no test requirement. That's the great thing. The other thing students need to understand, this is not something that every state does. This is unique to Georgia. There's other things that other states have, but nothing comes quite as great as our Hope Scholarship in Zell Miller. So let's talk about that. You have to have your rigor courses. And if you're in line with Alexander, you're in line to take rigor courses. I'll give you an example. Algebra 2 is a rigor course. Chemistry is a rigor course. College readiness is a rigor course. Anything above those levels are rigor courses. All of your world languages 2 and above are rigor courses. So if you've taken Spanish 2, Spanish 3, Spanish 4, French 2, so on and so forth, those are all rigor courses. Anatomy is a rigor course. So we have a list of them. Okay, the Hope eligibility. We talked about it. 3.0 GPA, core. And that means that they strip all of your electives away and they only look at your core classes and your world foreign language classes. Okay, and let's go on to Zell Miller. The Zell Miller Scholarship. Love it because a lot of our students qualify for the Zell Miller. You have to have at least a 3.7 GPA. 3.7 GPA. But the difference is you must receive at least a 1200 on the SAT or a 26 on the ACT. And they did not waive the test requirement like most schools did in Georgia. So if you want to qualify for the Zell Miller, you must meet those requirements. So seniors, I know a lot of you were excited that they took away the requirement of a test score, but keep in mind, if you qualify for the Zell Miller, you must meet those requirements, okay? Something that's extremely important, I hope everybody is listening. Alexander must have a correct Social Security number on file. When you fill out the FAFSA form, the only way you can get scholarship or free aid is through FAFSA, and they will not give you any free aid unless you display your Social Security number. So some students at the end, we're working real hard with seniors trying to make sure that they have a Social Security number on file. And the other thing is, you really can't go on georgiafutures.org and look up your Hope GPA if you didn't file your Social Security number. So that's very important. Just a quick story. I had a parent call me around August or September in a panic because her son did qualify for Hope, but she never turned in a Social Security number. We were able to get it all straightened out, but you don't want to be in that situation. She had to pay up front and then she was reimbursed. So make sure your Social Security number is in our system. Hope Grant. I love the Hope Grant. And there's also something called Zell Miller Grant that nobody ever talks about. It's a kept secret. If you want to go to a technical school or a 2-year school, because that's a viable option for some people, they may want to go to a 2-year school and then transfer into a 4-year school. They may want to go to a technical school and receive a certificate or a diploma program. So if you go into a 2-year school and technical school, you have the Hope Grant and the Zell Miller Grant. Guess what? There is no GPA requirement until the first time you receive your grades from that technical school or 2-year school. And then you measure up and qualify for either the Hope Grant or the Zell Miller Grant. It's the same thing. They give you a percentage off on your tuition for the Hope Grant, but for the Zell Miller Grant, 100% tuition free. And another thing, with the Zell Miller Grant, if you qualify, they will also retroactively pay you for that first semester when you took that particular class. Now, the Hope Grant won't. You have to pay up front for that first semester, but once you establish your GPA, that tells you where you fall. So take advantage. We have hyperlinks with all of this information for you. Okay, NCAA. NCAA is extremely important. If you're an athlete and you plan to go to a Division I or Division II school, you must fill out the information through the clearinghouse. You cannot be cleared to play sports in Division I or Division II school unless you do that. We have a hyperlink to that clearinghouse. You also will send them your test scores and you will send them your transcript as well. So for instance, if you were on Georgia Futures and you were filling out an application for school and they ask you for the code for that school, you would put that in. So it's the same thing for NCAA, but the code is 9999. Okay, so that's extremely important. The other thing, if you want to visit from a coach, the first thing they're going to go to is NCAA and see if you've been cleared to have a visit. All right. Final transcripts. This is very important. We're excited. I mean, COVID has been, we've had to really adjust and make some changes, but some of them are great changes. For instance, right now, if you want a transcript, you go to our website and you actually will, request a transcript. At the end of the year, when you graduate, because the schools that you may have been accepted to are going to ask for a final transcript. It doesn't matter if it's a university, college, a two-year technical school, they all want a final transcript. Seniors, take note, because I've talked to a lot of my seniors. Okay, you got accepted, that's wonderful, but don't get senioritis because they're looking at that final transcript. They're calculating in that you have completed those classes. So you want to make sure you finish strong. So at the end of the year, around the time of rehearsal for graduation, we're usually down at the graduation site collecting whether or not students need final transcripts. But now it's online, so you can request your final transcript. There's a click that says, after May, please send my final transcript. So you can do that. That must be done. Immunization. Okay, so as you may want to attend a college or a technical school, they're going to ask you for immunization. The good news is we put a copy of your immunization in your diploma pack when we give you your diploma. Now, if you don't have an updated immunization, we can only give you what we have. So make sure you have updated your immunization and you will get a copy at the end of the year with your diploma. Okay, college visits. Seniors, you have an opportunity to visit for 2 days. You can visit as many colleges as you want. But for 2 days, we give you, as seniors, to visit colleges. There's a form that you must fill out. And once you get to the college, the representative will actually sign off that you came and visit them. You will turn that back into the attendance office, and then you will be marked present for that day. So please take advantage of that, okay? Okay, so I want you to make a note of this, seniors. On October 29th, that's the day we're giving our school-wide PSAT. Most of you will not be taking a PSAT, right? So that day we chose to have our virtual learning college visit day. So what we've done, the Counseling Center has gathered up a lot of different colleges who are willing to talk to you that day. So we're going to give you a list of colleges where you can click on and talk to the representative. And most of the time, those representatives are actually the people who represent Alexander's district. So those are very good people to talk to. So October 29th, you will get that information. Those of you who may not want to go to college, but you might want to go into the service, we're going to have information for you to be able to talk to someone about the military. Those of you who want to go to World of Work, we'll have information for you to find out about what's out there and what you can do and what you can do in the world of work. So October 29th, you do not come to school. It's a learning visual day. Okay?
That's the same as a skip day?
No, it's not the same as a skip day.
It's not a skip day?
It's not a skip day, but you will be marked present that day. All right. Okay, so not everyone's path leads to college or a technical college. So again, you can find valuable information in our career exploration section of Georgia Futures website. They have jobs, they have where you can explore the areas that you want to, like sometimes, we have seniors, and I was probably one, that don't really know what we want to do for sure. So we have different assessment tools that you could take and find out what you might be interested in. So that day, you want to learn about yourself, your careers. You want to go to Build Georgia. You want to do skilled trades. They have information there, exploring other careers or the military. So this is the website for you to go and explore. Seniors, class of 2021, we have Google Classrooms. I'm gonna give you an opportunity right now to just, I'm gonna wait a little bit so you can take a picture. These are your Google Classrooms from your counselors, okay? And we're gonna pull up what they look like. Now, every senior, pay close attention. We are gonna meet with you individually, every single senior. And it's a very important meeting because we wanna find out what path are you interested in? Do you want to go into the world of work? Do you want to go to college? Do you want to go into the military? Whatever it is that you want to do, we want to help you, okay? And that's why we're hosting to take the ADVAT test at our school. We have 2 sessions that we're going to give to students, okay? So I want you to go to Google Classroom as soon as you can and sign up with us so that we can have our senior meeting. Okay, go ahead and pull up the Google Classroom. Okay. All right, so while we're pulling up the Google Classroom so you can take a look at it, we're at the end of our presentation. Would you please sign up, if you haven't already done so, at Haynes 2021. If you're a senior and you haven't signed up under Ms. Haynes Remind, you are missing a lot of information. A lot of our information goes through Ms. Haynes because we don't want to bombard you with our senior Remind and her senior Remind. So a lot of our information will go through Ms. Haynes. So make sure you sign up. Our dual enrollment. If you want to be in dual enrollment, or if you are in a dual enrollment student, make sure you sign up for the dual enrollment Remind. And then our website is ALX Counseling Center, where we have scholarship information where you can go and request your transcripts and so on and so forth. Make sure you sign up. And then dual enrollment for parents. You might have particular questions, so make sure you sign up. We have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Questions? It's time to ask them if you have them.
Yes, go ahead and write in the Google chat if you have any questions at this time.
Okay. So here's the Google Classroom.
Okay, so it's going to pull it up for you. So if you want to set up an appointment with your counselor, all you do is click on our name and you can set up an appointment with us. We get it right away.
So we have 4 of these Google Classrooms set up, 1 for each of our caseloads, but the information in each one is identical. So you're not going to miss out on information by signing up A through C. I'm not going to post anything in the L through P senior class that's going to be any different. We're posting all the same information. But we posted lots of information. Here you can request an appointment. Here you can actually go into our virtual counseling office, which brings you to here. And you have links to all kinds. So there's some crisis information links here. Georgia Futures, a link to there. There's the senior brag sheet.
That's not showing on the thing. Is it not?
Now it is. Okay, sorry. So here is our Bitmoji Classroom, our virtual counseling office. So we've got some crisis information here. If a student is in need, or even if it's not a student, if it's anyone in the family is in need, you can click and access these resources. We have where you can click here and go to the GA Futures website. This is our senior brag sheet. So students can click on this and it pulls up the Google form for them to fill out. And then we've got links to other websites, niche.com, NCAA, the FAFSA, Common App, ACT, and SAT. You can also click here and that will take you to the official transcript order form, or you can click on your counselor and it takes you to a contact page, which actually loads back to
And on the side.
our counseling page.
And this is where you'll see the presentations. You'll see scholarship information, the senior brag sheet. There's other links there as well.
Right, so here's the transcript request form that you saw in the virtual counseling office as well. And here's also the link to pay those transcript fees. Here's our remind codes. And then there's information on dual enrollment as well.
All right, we got 2 questions.
Okay.
The first question is, counseling will only be done virtually?
No, because we see students that are here. So all the students that are actually face-to-face they actually come in and we see them here in the office. The students that are virtual, we will be happy to have a Google Meet and we will meet with them virtually.
All right, second question. What are the requirements for dual enrollment?
Dual enrollment?
Dual enrollment.
Yeah, this is our dual enrollment coordinator.
Okay, so for dual enrollment, if the student's not already in dual enrollment, some deadlines have already passed as far as getting in the spring. There may be a few schools that you could still get in, but we would probably need to have a conversation pretty quickly to see if that was possible. So without getting into the requirements at each individual school, the easiest thing would be, if you're interested in that or have any questions, to shoot me an email.
For any counselor.
Or any counselor, absolutely. And then we need to probably sit down and talk about that as quickly as we can.
It's a little tricky with seniors, and let me tell you why. If you decide, let's say you're not in dual enrollment right now, and you decide you want to do dual enrollment in January, well, you know Alexander is a year-long school. So your classes that you're in right now, you won't receive the final credit until May. So it makes it a little tricky to be in dual enrollment your senior year in January. Now, if you're a junior, then that's a different story. But at this point, it's kind of tricky for seniors. I won't say that it can't happen, but it's a little tricky. Good question.
Got two more. Next question. When are colleges in state allowing in-person visits?
We don't know. We don't know.
They might not know either.
They don't know. And that's why we're so excited that they were willing to take that day, October 29th, to actually, you got to understand that this is not meetings that they're doing for everybody. These are meetings that they're setting up for Alexander students. Okay, so it's intimate. You get a chance to ask them questions. So we're excited that they have decided to partner with us on that day. So the answer to that is nobody knows.
All right, next question. What is a typical turn time for students to meet with their counselor after a request has been submitted?
Great question. It depends on how heavy the load is. So we go by first come, first serve. And we like to do it very quickly. But we have almost 500 seniors. So our senior, and let me tell you, it's not a matter of it's a 5-minute meeting. We actually sit down and talk to you and decide what's the best thing for you. And we really take time to find out your interests. So it's not a quick, we ask you questions that we want to know. It's not a quick turnaround. So we give every student, one student could take 20 minutes, another student could take 45 minutes. So we're going to get through, we made a goal to get through our senior meetings by November 20th. We gave ourselves 1 month.
All right, next question. Is an appointment with the counselor a requirement for graduation? If so, by when?
Okay, so every single senior in our school will meet with their senior counselor.
Okay.
And we're going to do it within the month, between now and November 20th.
Either in person or virtual.
Yes, either in person or virtual.
And then the last question I have right here for now is, if a student turns in an application through Common App, do they need to have the recommendation letters and transcripts on hand when they submit? Or does the school request that information separately?
That's
Good
a
question.
great question. Great question, you guys. Okay, so number one, Common App is fabulous because, as we already said, you can apply to several schools with one application. However, some schools have different requirements. In other words, some schools may ask you for an essay, another school may not ask you for an essay. A school may ask you for a counselor's recommendation, another school may not. So as you go through and you decide which schools you want to actually apply to, they'll tell you the requirements. So as far as your test scores, as far as your transcript is concerned, they send us an email when you jot down who your counselor is. We receive an email through Common App. We send them, they also ask for like school reports, so they know how many AP classes we have at our school, where you rank, all of those things. Questions they ask us, we fill out, and we send them a transcript. So once you go through Common App, we will send them a transcript when we respond back to them.
So what they need when they're filling out the Common App is the counselor's email.
Yes. Everybody's email is the same in the whole entire school. first name dot last name at dcssga.org. Everybody's email is the same. First name dot last name.
All right, 2 more questions for now. The October 29th meeting is virtual.
Yes, those college visits, military visits, World of Work visits are all virtual. And that's why seniors are staying home that day.
We have a clarification question on the requirement for graduation about the senior meeting. The question was, is the meeting required for graduation, not just what the plan was?
That's a great, nobody's ever asked that. I would convince you to come meet with me. Let's just put it that way. It's not required, but it's
Strongly recommended.
highly suggested. Highly suggested. Any other questions?
I don't see any other questions.
Well, you guys have been fantastic. We appreciate you being online with us today. And counselors, you want to come up? We just want to send our class off in an appropriate way. Congratulations to our seniors. Class
Ready to
of,
get y'all up out of here.
class of 2021. Congratulations. And this will be, we'll post this on our website. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.